Welcome to Lack of Focus, an X-Wing miniatures game podcast, brought to you by Dice 8 Productions. Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to another episode of Lack of Focus. These aren't the points you're looking for, episode 15. I am your host, Ed Horn, and alongside me tonight, my partner in crime and gaming, one Mr. Chad Brown.
Hey, everybody.
And our producer extraordinaire, one Mr. Kris Sheriff.
See, it only takes a second take.
It only takes a second take. Sometimes we do. Unfortunately, we are without Sean tonight. We do want to, of course, mention real quick, we are brought to you once again, by Galaxy Gaming Gear, who's going to be producing some really cool tokens for us. If you haven't gotten your Lack of Focus ones, if you're a patron, you should really try those out. There's a lot of fun. Anyway, so in tonight's episode, we were sort of hoping, praying, maybe potentially hoping to see points changes. We are in January 2019. Happy New Year, by the way. Unfortunately, that hasn't happened yet. So we are going to spend some time doing some predictions, risky predictions that guaranteed are going to fail on where we hope to see the points changes go this year. We're going to kind of discuss our holidays. I don't know how many people actually played games, but we'll kind of get into that. And whatever else comes up in X-Wing conversations. So all of that and a lot more coming up right after this.
All wings report in.
Red 10 standing by.
Red 7 standing by.
Red 3 standing by. Red 6 standing by.
Red 9 standing by.
Red 2 standing by.
Red 11 standing by.
Red 5 standing by.
All right, we're back, and in the flight deck, we're going to cover over, well, did anybody fly X-Wing over the holidays? Because I know I didn't.
I played lots of games. None of them
no
were
X-Wing.
X-Wing.
So I'm going to run down the crap that I got down for Christmas because it's kind of video cast related. Yes, Chad?
You didn't play any games?
Oh, I played some Magic, but I have a channel with 100 subscribers now.
You didn't play any X-Wing games?
No, I did not play any X-Wing games because unfortunately Tuesday nights is my regularly scheduled gaming night. This year, 2018, Christmas and New Year's fell on a Tuesday, so I did not get to go out to the gaming store for either one of those events.
Do you realize the massive heart attack you've just given everybody by stating you haven't played any games?
Anybody that's listened to any episode of the show should not be surprised by that statement.
I mean, if only there was somebody on the show who would point out the fact that you barely ever play games all the time.
I know. Where would I be without that constant reminder?
I know. And if only you would listen to that person.
I do. I'm trying. This is 2019. I'm going to have more gaming in my future this year.
Do or do not. There is no try.
Exactly. So what I did get, though, is I got this fantastically, if you are looking at the YouTube channel, these brand new fantastic noise canceling headphones. They are professional grade. I also, on Chris's suggestion, got a brand new shock stand for my microphone so it can move around and not actually hear a bunch of bumping and grinding around as it goes around. And I have a mic stand on order that will be here, so I'll have a little bit more of a professional recording setup. Also, Chad, you'll be happy to see this. I got this for Christmas. This is for those
I am to collect dust.
Those who cannot see on the video screen, that is the Curse of Strahd from 5th edition X-Wing, or 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, 5th edition X-Wing, we're not there yet. Wow. 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons, which means that we need to start playing some D&D, and relatively soon.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start scheduling, go back to our original schedule, Chad. I'm glad I have you here because I can have this conversation now. I'd like to start doing... Can't escape now. I did, well, Kris, since you're kind of here too, I did want to toss an idea out there. How would you feel about doing Curse of Strahd over Skype? How would you feel running that with us?
Using like the Roll20 stuff thing?
Yeah. But doing it kind of over Skype, because here's the problem that I have.
You don't have any friends. Yeah, it's hard to play D&D with no friends.
Thank you, Kris.
Happy New Year, all pile on Ed.
Now you've officially spent way too much time with Chad. So here's what I'm thinking, though. So the problem, of course, that I have is I have all the 5th edition books. I've read them, but I haven't played the system at all. And I know you're currently playing 5th edition. So I don't know if you have Curse of Strahd, but I would really love to. It's absolutely my single most favorite campaign setting from the original Dungeons & Dragons. The second, of course, being Planescape. Those are my two favorites. So I'm really looking forward to playing in it, and I don't want to read ahead and spoil it. So I got through the first beginning chapters, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to ask Kris if he'd be willing to run it and if Chad would be willing to play with it over Skype by doing it.
Yeah. if we can sort out a time slot that works for everyone and things. My schedule is pretty full at the moment, but I'm sure we can work stuff out. But yeah,
and that was kind of my concern. But one way or the other, Chad, I'd like to get started. So I know you have a campaign that we started and have never finished.
Yeah.
How much time do you need to finish to roll that in? Because the way that Curse of Strahd is set up is it can be dropped into any campaign.
It's almost
you
like
guys
Strahd
were
just
you guys were just in a town and everything. So like, if we need to like take a break, you got a spot. We could probably finish up. Oh wait, you guys were on a little quest. You can finish that up in one night and possibly start the Strahd thing if you want.
Okay, then I think that's what I think we're going to do. So how does this weekend sound?
I don't know. I would have to, like, for the three of us?
Well, yeah, that's true.
Are you talking to finish up where we were at?
Probably should talk with Kris and kind of get some scheduling, but that's kind of my plan. Yeah, you're a fair argument, because I would now just want to run with it. But sometime in the next couple of weeks, I'd like to see if we can get something started. If Kris can't, obviously his kind of springing this on him literally live right now. So if his schedule does not permit, then I'm totally okay with just running it here. I just kind of wanted to gauge the interest. So I'm thinking I'm going to throw stuff out to our regulars and see who's interested in playing some D&D again.
Yeah, it would be nice.
So and of course this would be lack of focus. We didn't go off. That has nothing to do with X-Wing at all. Nothing.
It's your flight deck,
It was Ed, instead of talking about games, talking about what he got for Christmas.
Well, one of the other things I picked up for myself, though, it is X-Wing related, is the First Order conversion kit. So I'm going to be able to run Supernatural Kylo any minute. So I did pick that up. Okay, so that was my X-Wing related stuff. Chad, how was your Christmas? We actually haven't even had this conversation.
No, do you want to see what I got for Christmas?
Sure do.
Nothing.
Aw, your son didn't get you anything?
No.
Some people's kids, man, I'll tell you.
I know.
It's okay, Chad. I pretty much feel the same. I got like socks and stuff.
Yeah, I did get one thing, which I actually got early, but it wasn't anything physical to get. It's more of a thing I'm going to do over in March. Oh,
cool.
So in March, for Christmas, I bought a ticket to go see Kiss.
Oh, nice.
So we're gonna be they're on their farewell tour, and it's gonna be at the PPG Paints Arena, which I've yet to be there. So
I've been in there. It's awesome. It's a fantastic facility. So
yeah, I'm gonna go see Kiss in March, and I'm gonna try and paint my face a little bit, and the thin, spot that I actually have visible that isn't hair.
You're not gonna do Deadpool doing Kiss?
No. Although there were I did see a T-shirt that had 4 Deadpool masks, and each one of them, the black eyes and all that, were done up to be a different member of Kiss.
See,
the picture is out there. I could do that, but I don't want to wear a full face mask.
Oh, because you actually want to enjoy it.
Yeah. So I figure I'll just paint like this part of my from my hairline up to my hairline. I'll just paint
I could
that
see
area.
That.
So.
You did get to meet one of the people. I've only ever gone to one of your cosplay Comic-Con kind of things, but you did get to meet someone. And since we were last recorded, that I really, really wanted to meet, and I totally forgot it was that weekend.
I forgot to mention this.
The only person I think that would have gotten me out of the house to be able to go drive up there to go see it, Brent Spiner, was there, who played Data from Star Trek. I absolutely regret not being able to make that and not going.
Dude, I was first in line for his table. He came walking in, and he's just singing along as he comes walking in and sits down and just, having a pleasant conversation. Really, really super nice guy. He was really awesome.
One of my childhood heroes. I'm really regretting if he comes back next year. I am reserving that time frame. I need you to drag me out of bed or whatever it is going to take to get me there. I'm really regretting I didn't get to go to see that.
I was going to say Denise Crosby was there, and Gates McFadden was scheduled to be there, but she canceled. So, Jerome Flynn was there.
Yeah, from Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Oh, you should have heard the Q&A. He's a quite hilarious guy.
Also from Robson and Jerome.
That's true. Yeah, for those who don't know.
London's Burning, Unchained Melody. What a guy. Yeah, he is my idol.
Well, so what I heard, the way that Chad told the story was he wasn't even scheduled to show up to the Q&A. He just walked into the room and started talking.
Well,
sounds about right.
Took somebody else's Q&A.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
The guy who played Pinhead from Hellraiser was supposed to have a Q&A.
The original guy or the false Pinhead that they did that made it DirecTV?
No, the original guy from the movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he was supposed to have a Q&A, and I guess Jerome Flynn heard how everybody was having so much fun with their Q&As. I guess he asked if he could do one, and I guess somehow he ended up getting that guy's. And for some reason, I can't remember his name at the moment, but he ended up getting his Q&A time slot, and it was really interesting.
I assume you were in the room when that happened.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Why would I say it was really interesting if I wasn't in the room?
Well, considering how big of a star he is, I just didn't know if you'd be able to get into that room since it was kind of short notice kind of thing.
I'm hoping that everyone was in there asking him like Hellraiser questions and didn't know.
That would have been awesome.
Well, how many pins do they stick to your head for the movies?
Oh, dear.
Oh yeah, no, he was asked some really, really interesting questions, and some of them he had some really, really interesting answers. Like he was asked about, does the cast get together after shooting and go hang out? Like, what do you guys do and stuff? And he's all like, "Well, I'm gonna have to plead the fifth on what we do sometimes." I was like, "Wow, he's a little bit of his character in him, So,
absolutely,
yeah." Lots of interesting people there. The next one is going to have two Star Trek guests. Walter Koenig's going to be there. He was Chekhov from the original Star Trek. And William Shatner's going to be there.
Yeah, I heard Shatz was going to be there. He's another one that would draw me out. Yeah. The one that would really get me, if Patrick Stewart were there, I don't know why Patrick Stewart would go to Altoona.
That's just asking for trouble.
Yeah,
right? Jean-Luc Picard and Professor X. You're okay. I'm done. I'm not coming.
Yeah.
Well, because that's what I heard is that he stopped doing he does the big ones like the San Diego Comic-Con. He'll do that one, but like the little ones is just he's just taking those off his schedule. He's just not doing those kinds of things. Which I'm sorry that
Shatner's going to be there.
Well, and that's kind of what I was getting at. Like, I'm really surprised to hear that Shatner's going to show up to Monroeville, PA, to do a Q&A kind of thing at a Comic-Con. That's really
sign autographs and do the professional photos and yeah.
So that one might get me out. Data is the one. I'm really so sorry that I missed Brent Spider. I'm going to regret that for the rest of my life.
You should be.
And the one Data over Denny Crane. What are you talking about, man?
I know. Well, so the other one that I missed was whenever David Prowse was there, and then David Prowse basically retired from doing them right after, legitimately right after that. Yeah. And how I missed Vader. How do I call myself a Star Wars fan and I didn't get to see David Prowse?
I saw him.
I know you saw him.
I got to see him, and I got to see Adam West before he passed away.
You did.
Emperor Ford.
You have Emperor Palpatine. You have his
Emperor Palpatine knighting me.
Oh God, that was such a good picture.
I know.
Okay,
things. Yeah, you could actually do this kind of stuff.
I know. For me, it's the ridiculous amount of money it costs to do that, though.
No, I think buy your tickets early.
Yeah, I guess.
Aren't so bad. I mean, it's just how big of a celebrity.
Yeah, the entry tickets aren't necessarily what it concerns me. It's like, what did you say you paid to get into Brent Spider's line? Was what, $60?
It was $60 for autograph. Yeah.
That's for 5 minutes of the guy's time.
I'll sign autographs for $5, guys. Canadian. That's like practically free.
Wait, I think I got some dryer lint here.
Right? Anyway, so you have anything else you want to cover from the last 2 weeks of what you did? Obviously, I don't know if you had any games or not. I know Evan was trying to get some stuff going on up at the store.
Yeah, it's just been a little crazy here and everything with the holidays and all kinds of other stuff. And actually haven't really gotten any games in. Hopefully that gets remedied here soon. So
that would be the hope.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, maybe if we don't play D&D this week, maybe we get over and play some X-Wing. Like bring Logan down. I know Logan's been itching to get some more games in.
Yeah, we're trying to talk Josh back into X-Wing, so
pull him in. Pull him in. Absolutely.
Josh, I'll just on that McMillan, if you listener from Nova Squadron Radio days.
He played that list until it ran it into the ground. Anyway, all right, so we've been
odds legal.
Yes. So we monopolized a lot of time here. That was a horrible. Kris, how about yourself? I know you said you were playing some games, not of course X-Wing, but you were playing other games.
Yeah, my mum told me on the Thursday before Christmas, being on the Tuesday, that she was coming for Christmas. So
surprise!
Yeah, so I'd already invited one of my friends from work over because we normally have somebody extra, just because it's just me, Joe, and the baby. Otherwise, it used to just be me, Joe, and the dogs, but there is a baby as well now. So we had 4 of us. We played some board games. We played Century Spice Road, really good. I can recommend that one. It's one of our favourites. Played King Domino, Queen Domino. What are some other games as well, and yeah, it was generally good. I was going to go and grab my bag because I have reorganized. I did an X-Wing related project, so I'm going to see if I can nip, and I'll have to edit. But
yeah, no, sure, go ahead. There it is.
So I have my Games Workshop Age of Sigmar backpack, which I use for transporting all of my my X-Wing. So I've packed it all up nice. So we have my tokens and dice and everything. Then we have in my FFG World Championships 2015 card box my oversized damage deck.
I have one of those right over there.
And all of the squads that I'm currently flying. And then I have in a Plano all of the dials and ships for 4 different squads. So I got all organized, and so I have my travel bag ready to go. I can play X-Wing anytime, anywhere, and still.
What do you do for your templates?
They fit in this one.
Oh, they fit in
the Plano one.
Yeah.
Ed, you've seen my box. Everything fits in it.
Yeah, I know, but so if we're gonna show stuff off, so I have one of these trays.
Yeah.
That fit all of my templates in it. So this is lovely when traveling to tournaments.
Zip noise.
What's that?
We have gone full ASMR with that zip noise.
There you go. So this is perfect for traveling in tournaments because you can let your squad and everything and just use this as a carrying tray. The problem is transporting with it. It doesn't, if you tip it, I've lost, this number 1, I've lost, and these are my old Nova Squadron Radio ones, by the way. I've lost my number 1 so many times because I've just tilted this the wrong way, or it hits in the car or something like that. So I think I might just start taking these out and carrying it, because I have a backpack
I was going to say, they come out,
Well, yeah, you're right. But so I have that backpack that has all of the old medals from the season 2, season 3 kits whenever they gave up medals for winning the events, and I just have them dangling off the back of the bag. So I'd like to do something that you have there, Kris, set up like that, but I'll just have to tuck that in there and carry it with me. So that's a good idea. Maybe that's what I'll do in the meantime.
They do those trays now where they have a magnetized lid and stuff, so you can actually slide them in. So I did. Yeah. I also the crates did a lifestyle thing. We've got a running group, and I'm horribly unfit, and but I just went to a gym the other night and did a 10K so that I could get my crate lifestyle templates. So
nice.
I ran a 10K, which was I definitely ran 10 kilometers.
Ran all 10 kilometers?
Yes, I did. Not walk it.
Since we're changing into lifestyle, a part of my New Year's resolution is to be a little bit better to myself in a lot of different aspects. But one of them, of course, is that because of my sedentary job, I don't move an awful lot at work. I sit down, I type out It does, exactly. And I'm not going to lie, it has. That is absolutely true. So we've had a treadmill down here for years that has never been used. So, it's been in use the last 3 days. It has been in use. I have been on the treadmill for a minimum of an hour every day, except today, for the last 3 days straight. So my goal is I figure if I can keep it up for a month, that develops the habit and I get used to it. I am taking a business trip that I'm going to be going to West Virginia tomorrow, but they have a gym at the hotel, so I'm still going to try to.
That's what I did when I was traveling. I actually, when I went to Worlds or was going anywhere, I'd make sure we had either a pool or a gym. And even if you only do like 10 laps or something, just do it every morning. Just make sure you're like keeping it up. And that was the most exercise I was getting. But
my problem is I'm not a morning person, and
I hate it. I hate it so much.
So many people have told me that if you just got up 30 minutes early and just walked or did whatever on the treadmill for 30 minutes before you do anything else, you'd have it done and over with. That just involves me waking up early, and I hate it.
It is true. I remember when I was in the Air Force, I went through a period I was going to the Warhammer Throne of Skulls and I wanted to play Wood Elves, but I didn't have a Wood Elf army, so I got up at 5:30 instead of 8 o'clock every morning, did 35 minutes to an hour's worth of painting every morning before I went to breakfast and stuff. So I didn't used to go to breakfast. I used to roll out of bed like 5 minutes before I needed to be at work. I'd have my uniform ironed already, throw that on and go to work.
And off you went.
And then I'd just get like a sausage roll or a sausage barm cake. Yeah. The sausage barm, there we go. We'll go full Wigan for everyone. So barm cake is a bread roll that has like flour on top. So I don't know if you call it a morning roll or a dinner roll, would you guys?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. Stupid.
I think I had those. I think they had those. So whenever
you would
we
have had
did
it in Scotland, yeah.
Yeah, when we did our traditional Scottish breakfast, I think I had exactly the same thing that you're talking about. So those are awesome.
Yeah. But if you do that every morning whilst working in a second line bay repairing Sky Shadow pods, you get really, really fat.
Yep.
So
totally understand.
I used to
How
go.
How far are you walking?
So I'm just starting out. So I'm doing 2.5 miles every day.
That's good.
Yeah, it's just starting out all right.
It is just starting out, but like keeping in mind, like I'm not really super physically active in my job, and running around chasing kids doesn't count. So I need to do something. I figure if I'm doing something, I'm going to eventually get it into running is my goal. But I figure you've got to walk before you run, figuratively and actually. So I'm going to start with a month of that, and then I'm going to start pumping up the speed as I go.
The worst thing you can do, especially I don't believe in New Year, right? On December,
it happens. It's real.
On December 31st, I went to bed at 9 o'clock. You know that time is a made-up concept. It doesn't. Dates don't exist. If you're a Roman emperor, you can just steal dates from one month and stick it on another. It's not really relevant. China has a different New Year. If you're in Australia, it was a New Year a day before, which it just doesn't make sense. So
and arbitrarily January 1st and December 31st were just picked. It has nothing to do with
New Year is just a massive excuse. So I hope this doesn't happen, but I'm going to run a theory by you now, Ed. So you're going to walk on a treadmill every day in January, and then you're going to start running in February. Probably like the middle of February, you're going to push it a little bit harder, and you're going to be tired, and your knees are going to be sore. And then you'll miss a day, and then you'll do it again the next day, but go back to walking. Then you try running again, and then you'll miss a couple of days, and then suddenly you'll eat 15 sausage rolls, and it won't matter anymore. And then you'll be like, oh, damn, it's like April, and I didn't do any running. Oh, well, might as well wait until January again.
Well, no. So, like, this is kind of...
You can choose any time to change. You can pick any time in your life to better yourself. You don't have to wait till January the 1st.
I know. For me, 2018 was a crazy kind of year, and I really lost a lot of the things about taking care of myself. And I gained a lot of weight this year, which
I don't gain weight, I gain chins.
There's that too. Chins and man boobs. Yep, no, on board. Totally understand. But no, for me specifically, I've always had this ability to I've always had this ability to put weight on and then take it right back off. And sometime around 35, that stopped.
Yeah.
That just stopped. It stopped happening.
I
And
still
I've never
have a
corrected that
vivid
process.
memory of being in high school. So this would have been like 15, and I wasn't athletic by any means, but I had a decent metabolism. I had like a six pack, and I was fine. And I ordered. We used to get like a slice of pizza, and like one day I got like the full pizza, and they had to cook other ones. So like, with 12 people behind me in the line couldn't have pizza, and we were chatting. It's like, oh yeah, I can just eat anything I want, and it's like I just don't put weight on. It's awesome. Yeah, stupid Kris, stupid past Kris, ruining my life.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a problem for 35-year-old Kris.
Yep. Or 40-year-old Ed who's like, hey, that weight you used to drop off in the summer every year, it's going to stop now.
Yeah.
And unless you do something about that, it's going to stay. And it's just going to keep compiling, which is really genuinely what has happened. So I feel like there's a lot of things I need to do to better myself. Losing some weight,
yeah.
getting some actual physical activity because of the career path that I have chosen. That has to happen. Eating better. So if this doesn't help, it doesn't hurt that my wife has decided to go complete vegan for a while, and she's dropping a lot of weight. So she cooks what we're eating. I'm eating that. So I'm eating less meat in my life. I'm eating more vegetables. So it's just kind of hopefully all going to go hopefully well. I recognize that there are going to be
counter to
days.
this, Ed, is you need to tell her, I'm really into fitness now, dear, and I'm gonna do keto, so I need steaks, not too much, but like
that.
sausages and some cheese.
I tried that because there's two people I work with that are doing the keto diet, and I'm like, oh, that sounds awesome. I should totally do that. Wait, all I have to do is cut out bread? I'm cool. I'm all right with that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, so it's part of my New Year's resolutions was I recognize that I totally get the joke that you're going with, but in all true honesty, like I recognize 2019, I want to be a happier, healthier me.
No, but it's not a joke, Ed. This is deadly serious. I'm
No.
all for it. But if you fail in February, you can start again in March. You don't have to wait.
No, I know, and you're right. It's really getting down to that one of those things, like, and you're in the same boat now, Kris. Like I've got younger kids, and I kind of like to stick around for them. That would be good.
Like yesterday, like every diaper change was a pooey one. I don't know. I could do with not sticking around for that.
Makes you
You
question
gotta
life
stick
choices.
around, Kris, because then when it's their turn to change your pooey diapers, then you get your revenge.
Speaking of sticking around, we were all sticky ones. Not.
Oh God, gotta love those.
I don't know if I said it on this podcast or if it was somewhere else, but like when the highlight of your day becomes when your baby's done an adult poo and it's just a solid block, it's like, yes, this is the best thing I've ever seen.
And well, so you have the same problem that I did. Changing diapers on a male child is 3 times as easier than it is changing on a girl because things go places that you're not comfortable sticking a diaper wipe near. Yeah.
I prefer it this way than having to like ball sack it. And like, I don't know. I don't know.
You know what? Whenever you have your second, that if
I
it's
think
a
this
male,
has got to be the best lack of focus.
Yeah.
You let me know which one's better if you have a second child and it turns out to be male. You can do the comparisons. I've done both. I know which one I not necessarily preferred, but the lesser
you've
of two
picked your
evils.
words already. It's too late.
I did. All right, so we have no news to cover X-Wing related. They didn't release Jack over the holidays. They did kind of sort of semi-troll everyone by updating the date on the point sheets to December 31st, 2018, but literally nothing changed.
I think the only news I saw was that there was an OP post about an update of what's happening in the next 2 quarters, which had some of the system open dates on it for X-Wing and all of the other games. Hyperspace news should be coming out fairly soon, so I know that
I missed that.
it's Lack of Focus may have posted a link on their Facebook page.
Oh, yeah, that place. Yeah, I should have looked there, huh?
Yeah.
But Hyperspace should be being announced pretty soon for which stores have got the first track, and those dates should be between May and let me double check so I'm not lying to you all. There we go.
We want to put.
I know something we forgot to mention.
Any time between March and June for Hyperspace Trials.
Can't wait. Can't wait. What did you forget to mention, Chad?
Well, we forgot to mention because we were going to talk about in the last episode, and Kris said no, it was going to be a surprise. There's something more of us did.
Oh, yeah.
Do we have to?
Do we wish to address that train wreck real quick?
God.
I don't know how many people went to our Patreon after I shared the link at Christmas, but I'm sure every one of them was rewarded and felt warm inside.
How many? Do you have any ideas how many views we've had?
For the love of God!
I don't know if it has a
or like listens or
for those who didn't, Chad. Why don't you share that first before we go on discussing our total embarrassment, throwing ourselves on the railroad tracks for this one. What did you make us do, Chad?
So for the fun of it, came up with the 12 Days of Sithmas, and it was all X-Wing / podcast related items for each of the days. And we found out something really, really interesting that we don't sing well together.
At all. I mean, at all.
We don't sing no music unison or anything.
I think that Sean had the best singing voice of all of us, and we can't we cannot sing at all.
You can't sing, Ed. I mean,
I never claimed to. You said this, and I said, "Are you sure you want to do this?"
Yes, because it was going to show how bad you are and give me something else to make fun of you about.
Oh, well, congratulations. I could have made fun of myself for that one really easy for you. So, yeah,
if
you're interested in hearing four nerds sing Star Wars X-Wing 12 Days of Christmas really
3 minutes and 59 seconds worth of pure
nails
gold.
on a chalkboard?
Pure gold. Head over to patreon.com/lackofocus. It's by the time you listen to this, it won't be the newest post, but just scroll down to Merry Sithmas, everyone, and yeah.
Oh my God, it was funny. It was hard to get through because we were laughing so hard
to edit.
The second time, because keep in mind we had a flub up the first time.
Just in general, like making that fit in the music was pretty difficult.
I think the ending that Kris left on there just described it best when Ed was like, God, that was awful.
Yeah. I was going to edit it out, and I was like, no, it's perfect.
It's perfect. Yeah. So we hope you enjoyed that. If you haven't heard it yet and you really want to hear something that bad, by all means enjoy it, because we worked hard on it. We worked hard on it, damn it.
It's not very often we'll tell you you're wrong as a podcast, but if you want to listen to that, you are wrong.
Someday that's going to be used as evidence in a court of law for some reason. I'm just throwing that out there. We're going to have to explain that.
It was all Ed's idea.
Okay.
Not claiming credit. Nope.
Why not?
We're enablers too, because you had this idea and not one of us said, this is not a good idea. We shouldn't do this. We're like, yeah, no, this is an awesome idea. Let's totally do this. But anyway, that little gem was brought to us by the live show that we did. Nothing better than determining 2 hours before a show saying, hey, let's do this live. That sounds like a good idea. But I don't want to abandon the idea. I know we had some technical difficulties on the first go around, but overall, I love the idea. I like the idea of being able to interact with the fans live during the show. I liked being able to watch some of the chat. Of course, Chad, you had your little conversations with Terry while you were there.
Yep.
She was fun.
Gotta love it. Hookers and blow.
Yeah, always good. Since we were talking about her. This is a copy of her book. This would be her free little plug from us. It is the Civilized Guide to Tabletop Gaming: Rules Every Gamer Must Live By. That is available on Amazon. Terry's that Terry girl on YouTube. She's been doing stuff with Geek and Sundry. She's all over the place. Fantastic human being. I actually got in touch with. I ended up learning about them from her husband's show. Jaded Gamercast.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say for some reason I was drawing a blank on his name. I more follow her than I do their stuff anymore. But JD Gamercast is one of the podcasts that I used to review on Belle of Lost Souls, and she would occasionally do spots on there. And then she's kind of gone off and done her own thing. Very successful, and very happy that she was able to join us on the show for our first live one. But like I said, I don't want to abandon the idea because we had technical issues. I liked the idea of doing it. I like the interactions, and I think it's something that we should continue to further explore for 2019.
Yeah, we just need to put some time and effort into getting the back end side of it working. Because the problem I have with it, especially the way we did it straight to Facebook, which I like because that's where the majority of our following is, but Facebook's got lots of limitations on the quality you can put out. I don't want to lower our overall quality just to fit Facebook. So it's another expense, I think. The easy way to do it anyway would be to use one of the multi-streaming platforms where I can still output it in one way and then send that to Facebook separately. But I'll look into it and we'll see. Like
Twitch or YouTube or something like that?
Yeah, because I can only output to one stream key from OBS. So then where I send that is up for debate at the moment. That's the only hard part, and making sure everyone's audio comes through on the different channels without losing the quality. There's a couple of intricacies that we'd
have to kind of iron out. Yeah. Ultimately, those are production decisions. As far as I'm concerned, I support whatever platform you decide to go with. I think any of those would be fantastic. I just like the idea of doing it in a live format. Twitch is probably the direction I'd lean if I had to pick, but again, that's completely up to you. Because from Twitch, you can export that out to YouTube, and from YouTube, you can export out to Facebook. So I feel like that's a natural flow. But again, whichever direction you decide to go, I support.
Yeah, well, sure, we'll figure something out.
So that was a whole killer of Flight Deck and news of a whole bunch of nada, aside from the points that weren't changed. So anyway, I think that's going to cover the news, Flight Deck, and catching up on the holidays. We are going to talk X-Wing, I swear it. And in the main topic, we are going to be covering over our predictions, our never-fail predictions for what we think the points might change to when the point change actually happens sometime this month. So hopefully we'll have that to talk about next episode. So all of that is going to be coming up right after this.
Almost there.
All right, we're back. And in the main topic tonight, we're going to look at the potential point changes we expect to happen when the points change eventually does come here in a couple of weeks. So I know, Kris, you had a baseline that you wanted to start this one off with that I fundamentally already had a objection to, but let's go into it.
Okay. So what I thought would be fun for us was to try and, if we each pick a couple of ships and then we all give our opinions on how they're going to change. But then I was like, well, how do you track accuracy for that? I was like, well, probably the percentage change in the points would be the best overall. And I was like,
like an over-under kind of thing.
Yeah, but then we can't call it over-under. I think the crates have already got they've got copyrighted, and Kris will come round and beat me up, and it'll be horrible.
And you'll be there in March, so he'll be looking for you.
Yeah. So I thought if we did a percentage differential between us all, so if you go through it, but then I was like, well, just the changes on their own don't really have that much relevance if you don't have a baseline level to keep them to. So I thought if we picked a ship in the game, and that can be our 0, that can be our null state for X-Wing. So I picked the X-Wing, and then Ed questions this decision.
I question it because fundamentally the points costing starts at the TIE Fighter. This isn't an Imperial thing versus a Rebel thing versus a Scum. It's none of that. It's legitimately when the set came out, the Academy TIE Fighter went from 12 points to 24 points. It legitimately changed 0 points from a 100-point to 200-point system. And we know that to be the base that all other ships are gauged on. That's why I thought that would be a good bet to start. I understand your perspective as well, though, for using the X-wing because it is the titular ship from the game.
So, as well as being facetious to you when we were doing our preamble, the core concept of the TIE Fighter being the cheapest ship in the game, and therefore the baseline, is going to be fundamentally flawed upon the release of the droids. Because you now have the caveat that you can only field 8 ships in a list, I think. I'm pretty sure that's in there, that there's a maximum ship. I'm going to have to read the rule book. I've still not done that yet. Worst podcast ever.
Right.
But if there's a ship cheaper than the TIE Fighter that you could fit 9 into a list, then it throws everything off. So, and the other reason why I chose the X-Wing was because if it goes down in points, so you can fit 5 X-Wings in a list. So you get the variation in both ways. I was pretty glib and facetious to you when we were chatting earlier because I did say, this is all podcast gold of the reasoning why I picked the X-Wing. But if we can only say the X-Wing would go up in points, then that's fine. You could use a TIE Fighter and it wouldn't make any difference. Pretty confident the TIE Fighter can't go down in points.
Well, and that's kind of where my argument came in.
Whereas
I legitimately feel like the 24 points where it's at, it's not going any lower. That everything else is going to rise above it as opposed to dropping below.
So that doesn't work for what we want to do with the percentage differential. Because if the X-Wing gets cheaper, then that...
I see your argument.
If something gets more expensive and the X-Wing gets cheaper, it gets incrementally more expensive if the X-Wing is your baseline. So I think the example I gave to you guys when we were discussing it now was that if Vader gets 5 points cheaper, but an X-Wing gets 1 point more expensive, Vader only got 4 points cheaper. It's how we're going to judge it, and that'll be the 4 points from a percentage of the 70 points that he was. So that's how we're going to score it. I've got my yellow legal pad and pen ready for whatever ships we all go through. So we'll go through. That's how we're going to judge it. I thought.
Okay, so we're going to judge this on the starting point of the 41-point Blue Squadron Escort or the Cavern Angel Zealot. They're the same point cost.
Yeah.
Okay. So do we? Since we're in Rebels, do we want to start with Rebels?
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
So again, we can. So I thought if we all pick, how many cards should we do? Because we could do ships and upgrades. Do we want to do a number of hyperspace and then a couple of extended? Or...
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because that is the first point that I would like to bring up on points changes is how heavy do we think hyperspace versus non-hyperspace changes are going to come? Do we feel that change is going to be all-encompassing to both facets of the game, or are they strictly on this first update, since we know we're going into hyperspace events and what is hyperspace legal, that's where they're going to focus on? So there's no upper minus on this one. I happen to believe the latter, that they are going to focus on hyperspace ones, and I can almost fearless guarantee that they're not going to touch extended.
Okay.
Because they really want to get the competitive one down, that they know the season that they're going into from March until June, like we know, and they've got 2 months they've got 2 months before they're going to do it. I think that's where they're going to focus on. So if we do see any extended changes, they're going to be minor at best, but we will see more changes leaning towards the hyperspace legal than non-hyperspace legal.
See,
fearless guarantee.
I could argue, because it's me and this is the format of our show, I then take the contrary point to that. And if you look at the hyperspace ships, they're all pretty good. Hyperspace, for the most part, is pretty well balanced. It's almost like that's all they gave a shit about when they started second edition. And extended was just like, yeah, this mess can get dealt with later. So
that's a good point.
You could go with the fact that they take the data points from all of their extended tournaments and all of the other results, and just go, okay, well, literally, so Redline's been massively successful, so she's going to be 20 points more expensive now. And I don't even care. Like, you've got again, this is going back into, I was talking about fixing Sky Shadow pods earlier, so I'm all over. You have your sinusoidal wave, and if you put error correction into it, it balances out until you hit 0, and then you have no noise. That's how noise reduction works. When you first turn noise reduction on, it doesn't do anything. As it has more time to match up, the correction balances out. So the first set could just be massive shotgun blasts to the head of everything and really wild changes, and just keep doing that, and gradually Extended will get more and more balanced. So you could see the biggest changes in Extended and tweaks in Hyperspace because they already put effort into Hyperspace.
I could see that as a good point too. I guess for me, that's such a good argument too.
Yes, I win. I love winning the internet. It's so much fun.
It's such a good argument too. It really is. I don't know. I guess for me,
it's because I baffled him with science and sinusoidal waves. He actually forgot we were talking about X-Wing, and he's like, "Yeah, this makes perfect sense."
No, he does. He makes logical sense. I guess for me, like I would think that whatever the next change comes in is going to be post hyperspace events in June. I don't know if they've announced the date for it. So if
you're looking at January for fix 1 or patch 1, you've got to assume July for patch 2.
Right, which would be post hyperspace. Yeah. So that's the only reason why I'm leaning in the opposite direction, thinking that if there are going to be changes, you might be right. They might be very comfortable with where they are with point points. I'd argue some of those points that I don't think that they're comfortable. I think there are a handful of things that should be tweaked.
So shall we get into specifics then? And
sure, yeah, let's get into some specifics.
You've obviously got something in mind, so fire away. Come
on. Supernatural reflexes. Let's go into that. If I'm going to start anywhere, that is where I'm going to start.
The new boogeyman. Okay.
The new boogeyman. So there aren't a lot of the generics that are hyperspace legal. So this still falls into my same theory. So, but when looking at hyperspace...
Sorry, if we're going hyperspace, users for Supernatural would be Vader, Luke...
Kylo
and Rey.
Kylo's the one that concerns me more. So obviously, before the First Order was announced and before anyone really had the opportunity to play with it, Supernatural Vader was kind of the boogeyman next to Boba Fett.
The boogeyman never appeared really. Everyone,
right? Because he doesn't have boost on his dial.
Yeah, I'm convinced that it's good, but that the players aren't.
That's a fair argument.
Or else we've been playing Extended, in which case it doesn't matter how good he is because he's not the Extended power level. But...
Right, yeah. However, Kylo will be hyperspace legal, and he will be legal before hyperspace happens. And I think if they're already beginning to see how much that ramps up Vader's ability or the ease of use...
Luke's a big one from what's like pre-Kylo days. Supernatural Luke was a lot scarier than Supernatural Kylo because you could flip to have a boost on the dial if you needed, boost on the action bar if you needed to. You had access to everything, and it was a pain to deal with if flown well.
Yes, I agree. So I think that if I were to pick the first one that I think is going to get a bump or a decrease in points, Supernatural Reflexes is the one that I'm going to go with, and I'm going to anticipate increase.
I'm writing it down. I need numbers, Ed. So it's 12 points at the minute.
It's 12 points now. Part of me wants to say 15.
Oh, 3 points. That's 1.5 points in old money, man.
Come on. and that's why I feel like it's not enough. So I guess I don't want to go to... all right, I'll go bold. I'm going to say that they're going to bump it up to 20 points.
Ballsy.
It is ballsy.
Because bumping Supernatural to 20... I'm writing it down that you said 20.
Mm-hmm. No, that's fine. It takes Vader to 90 points. And it takes Kylo to what? I don't know his points off the top of my head. I'm getting it.
8... I don't know. It's in my bag. I've got it. I knew I opened this up for a reason.
I did open it up and then I lost it. Kylo Ren, it would take him up to 102 points.
with nothing else.
He is 82 points base. It would take him up to 102. And for the level of effectiveness that ship brings to the table, I think that's fair.
That's still playable. I'd still run that.
I'd still run it too. Yeah, no, I still think it's worth it. It just definitely reduces his supporting cast more so than anything else. I think he's still going to be able to take over a game, but at 102 points, at least you're getting 51 points when you don't beat him and he still wipes out all of your squads and you only half point him.
So I have a question for you both now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Say that you're bang on. Supernatural goes up to 20 points. Is that just a non-viable card if you want to run the generic Inquisitors in Extended? Or if I want to play generic Jedis with Supernatural?
Ooh, that is a really good point. I think it's still.
Do you care?
No, and I think ultimately I don't care.
Is bringing Supernatural Kylo in worth it being an unusable card on the lower initiative pilots?
So for me, it goes back to the concern that I had with bringing Force mechanics into the game in the first place. Is Force users should feel overpowered, but you should still pay for that. So the idea of potentially running 4 Supernatural Inquisitors or 4 Supernatural Jedi, that could break the game. Like you could almost make an unkillable squad that you have no idea where they're going to be. Like that's, for me, I think it is worth it for game balancing for any Force user to bring that down a notch to make it balance out with the number of ships that it goes with. So I'm comfortable with that change.
Okay, come on, Chad. Supernatural. Are we going up? Are we going down?
I think it is going to go up in points just because it's very popular. You're going to see a lot of lists winning with it. So I feel with the way the new app and everything is, that they're going to be able to respond to, this is the popular thing. Let's try and nip that a little bit in the bud and try get people to fly something else. Like I said, that's going to be a very popular thing. So it's going to go up in points. Ugh, I don't know how many
are you going to
points.
go like 19.5 and undercut Ed?
We can't do half points here. Oh no, you can.
I did $1.
It's gonna go up 1 point.
Oh dear.
No, it's 12 now.
Yeah.
I'd say 17. They'll tack 5 points onto it.
Okay. 17.
That's a good
it's a good number.
I'd be okay with either of those, to be honest. I think 20 puts it. It's a commitment.
Okay, so I'm going to, just so that I lose our game, I'm going to say that it's going to go up as well. I'm sticking with it's going up, but because I brought up the concern that we're going to have some War Initiative pilots coming out who, I'm not saying that it's a correct choice to run Supernatural on them, but it could be fun to have all Supernatural Jedi. So I'm going to go with 15 points.
So you're going with a 3-point upgrade. Chad's going with a 5-point, and I'm going with.
I'm pretty sure
7.
I just slagged you off for picking a 3-point increment, and then like forced you into going to 20, and then chose that for myself.
I noticed that. I did notice that.
Yes, bullying the host into making bad decisions.
You don't have to bully him into that. He does that on his own.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so,
All right,
well, I think if we do it round table, so Chad, do you want to pick something, and up or down?
Oh,
it can go either direction.
Strikers.
Ooh.
Specific
All right,
or just a chassis in general?
See, like I know I got my favorite Pure Sabacc, and I know a lot of other people are into Duchess. But I mean, I think maybe just strikers in general instead of trying to just pick one pilot.
So let's start
I
off
say
with
they're going up.
Let's see start off with the Planetary Sentinel, which is the low pilot skill or low initiative one, which is currently at 34 points. And we'll say that whatever points change that you recommend propagates through each pilot.
Well, it's percentage changes, so as long I can average out the percentage change over all of the pilots because I don't mind doing extra work.
So they are currently at 34. What would you expect them to go to?
I think it's going to go up.
If you want to give me percentage, I can do that as well. If you don't want to pick
I don't
a
know
specific number.
percentage. I'd rather pick a number.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
I'll
I'm
be,
not going to sit here and try and figure percentages in my head.
I'll be going
backwards
backwards compatible anyway.
Yeah.
It's going to go up to 35.125 points.
Just so you know, on lack of focus, I can actually do math. It was only on Nova Squadron where I couldn't.
So then Ed's the only one who can't do math at the moment.
Correct.
Yeah. Even though he has a job working with computers, he can't do math.
It's always zeros and ones. That's all you need. You need to be able to count to not one.
That's why I have functions. What do I need? What do I need to do math for? It does it for me.
I'm gonna say it's gonna go up 4 points.
So 40 points for a TIE striker. Oh, 4, so 38.
4. Yeah, it'll go up to 38.
Whew, that would take Pure Sabak up to 48 points.
Yeah. Strikers are very maneuverable. They're ships that they've got that pre-move if you're not stressed. You're going to see that's going to become very valuable in this game because where you're situated is now a lot better than some of the upgrades that are going on right now.
And a lot
that
of that
is to get out of firing arcs.
Yeah, a lot of that is after movement knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with a striker,
it's supernatural built in. Oh, half of supernatural.
Half a supernatural, yes.
You have a boost, you have your move, and then if you didn't stress yourself, you've got a barrel roll.
Oh, you can take afterburners and boost and barrel roll. Oh, yeah.
But that gives you the ability to be able to react after everything's been laid down and to be able to go, ooh, I need that bailout move. I'm going to boost the other direction and just get the hell out of Dodge.
Yep.
Yeah, I could see that.
So are you, come on, Ed. Are we going up? Are we going down?
So the interesting part about that statement, I've not been paying as much attention, but I've been playing enough that I've not seen a ton of strikers in Imperial lists. I think competitively all around, people have been talking more about Scum specifically, which we are going to get to, Chris, and some of the Rebel stuff. And I feel like the Empire is in decline, is that they're not as strong as the other 3 existing factions, and by the time this comes out, the other 2. I actually think that the strikers are going to come down by about 4 points.
Okay, so
I think
let me give you an interesting break point for a ship. So if a ship costs less than 34 points, you can fit 6 of them in a list.
Oh, that's an interesting point.
If it costs 33 points,
strikers.
You can take 6 PS1 strikers. So 6 3-dice primary attacks in your list.
Okay.
So I'm not saying,
if they
come down, buy strikers. Because I've got 4 of them at the moment, and I could quite easily get 2 more.
I got 2.
If they dip down below 34 points, so you can currently get 5 in.
Yeah.
But nobody's running that list.
Well, remember, so you can get 5. So no one's going to take 5 Planetary Sentinels because then you're left with 30 points. So are you going to take 5 Sentinels and 1 per? Like you could.
Or you could take 3 Sentinels and Duchess and Pure Sabak, or Duchess and Countdown. Do you see what I mean? Like you could, but nobody's running that. Nobody's doing that. Like if there was a way to crack the code for Imperial and running 5 of them was currently the best way to go. I see your point, and I completely agree with the argument. Having 6 of 3 attack dice ship on the table is kind of crazy. It reminds me an awful lot of 4B1Z though.
Yeah.
Like they can be outmaneuvered early. So even having all of those 3 attack dice on the tables, they are still in a TIE fighter style frame.
They die quicker than TIE fighters.
They die quicker than TIE fighters. While I agree that that's going to be a hell of a glass cannon, I think a halfway apt pilot will be able to outmaneuver and drop 2 of those off the board really, really quick. So yeah, I'm sticking with it. It's fearless. It's fearless predictions here.
Okay, so we're going down.
I'm going down.
By how many?
4 points.
You're going 4 points.
I'm going the 4 points, damn it.
30 points base, -4. Well, this makes it easy
that
for
happens,
me.
I'm going to make that list and kick your butt with it.
So
we'll see, because I'll have Supernatural Kylo.
So remember, you can do what you want
points.
on your kitchen table, guys. So just play it anyway.
Yeah.
So because I want to win the game, because I know how this math works out, I'm going to say that they don't change, because then a differential change between you saying up 4 and Ed saying down 4,
gotcha.
I get to cheat. So I'll say they don't change.
Okay. So Chris, it makes it into your park here.
Yeah. Well, No, I don't think any of them are going to change. The Sentinel is good in Assault, Swarm, but it's extended, so who cares?
Right.
The named ones all feel about right. I have a tough choice picking which 2 I want to follow. So the list I've been running with Vader is Vader, Duchess, Pure Sabak, and Wampa. And I always want to put Countdown in instead of one of them. So if I'm making that hard decision, it feels right. If they all get cheaper, I can just put all 3 of them in and there's no decision to be made. So if that happens, Wampa is going by and I'll be running all 3 name strikers and Vader.
Heck yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I've got to pick something now.
That you do.
Do you want me to leave you some scum stuff?
No, I want to see the first one you pick.
Okay.
I don't care if it's the same one I do. I want to hear the argument.
So I'm going to go more specific now because I think the fire sprays are fine. Apart from... So I'm just going to write down Bubba.
That's exactly the same route that I was going to go.
So...
Overall, the chassis itself is fine.
Yeah, I'll give my arguments for it. It's like, no one's complaining about playing against 2 fire spray lists. When we were doing the Battle of Alberta thing and I'd claimed Bubba, people were still trying to fly fire sprays. None of it felt bad. Sean's playing triple fire sprays and enjoying it, is having fun games. I don't see any issues with the chassis. Bubba... we spoke about it straight away, didn't we? They tried to lower the power level of 2nd edition, and Bubba stayed the same.
Yes.
Bubba's a 1st edition ship in a 2nd edition game, so
with the same amount of power, with both sets of powers from both versions of Boba, he gets all the goodies.
Yeah, so I'm going to take the easy option. How many points is he?
He's 80. He's 80
going
days.
up. Okay, 82 points. He's going up by 2.
Only by 2.
So I'll give reasoning for this.
Man.
I feel like a slim Bubba isn't that much of an issue. I think this is more of a combination. We'll get to it when we end up on red wine and stuff like that. I think if you do a little bit here, a little bit on Marauder, a little bit on Handgunner, the whole package that is currently dominating gets brought in, but you don't nerf Bubba out of the game.
So ideally, you'd want to see him stay in the game and still play a viable option as a pilot.
Yeah, I would be quite happy if Bubba with Marauder title and Handgunner was just not a viable option. If that combination of cards makes it so that it's too expensive to run proper support, I won't shed any tears. But I don't want to lose Bubba as a pilot.
Yeah, completely be pointed out. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. Okay, so who wants to go next? I've got up by 2.
I was going to go a little bit more aggressive. I was going to go up by 5.
Up by 5.
Under the same argument and pretense, I think that overall the chassis itself is fine. Nobody is complaining about the other fire sprays for their point costs. I think they feel right where they belong. I think his ability is a little undercosted. And I think a 5-point adjustment helps because there are other builds that take Han Gunner, for example, that you would be pointing out because of correcting one. And I don't want to see them do what they did with the, what am I thinking? The Jumpmaster 5000, where they basically just pointed everything out of it. I think a 5-point bump in his points drops off one of those upgrades. And I think that is fair. Chad, I'll kick it over to you.
I'm going to say up. I'm going to go 4 points.
Yes. Walking the line. Well done, Chad.
Well done. Well done.
I'm sitting there, I'm like, I don't know if they'll take that up 5, but then again, it's like, I think it's going to go up more than 2. So I was just debating, do I want to go 3 or do I want to go 4? And I'm like, I feel 4 would be...
Chad's going for the 5% bump in points cost.
Yeah.
Ed went for 6.25% bump in points cost, you know, for those who are interested.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're back to Ed again.
All right, so we haven't touched Rebels. I have one ship in mind that I feel is in the early days of second edition that is underperforming, and that is our dear friend the Y-Wing. I think we may have gone a little too far on points costings for the Y-Wings. And why can I not find them on this list?
So Grey Squadron Pilot, 32 points. Nora Wexley being the most expensive at 43 points.
How am I missing that? What
You
page
get
is
to
that?
see Logan fly an X-Wing in second edition.
What page is that on, Chris? Why am I
It's
missing
I've got
Oh,
the
there
app.
it is.
I've
Okay,
got
it's
the
the
app
BTLA.
open.
That's why. It's the title.
Yeah,
They
there's
won't
an
get-
app, you know.
Yeah, I know, but I'm looking at the sheet cost here. So the baseline one at 32 points. I am going to go a little bit more conservative on this one because it is a bulky bomb build and can easily be laid out with quite a few upgrades. So I am going to go with a 2 points reduction on the Y-Wing chassis overall. I think that's conservative enough that at a 32-point Grey Squadron bomber, is a fantastic little fit. You can fit 5 of them in the list if you want. Toss in a few bombs on them. They can be well, but you really want to kind of go towards like the Duchess or Nora's if you want. And I think it makes it a little bit viable. That's the one ship I think from Rebels that we're not seeing a ton of. And I think it's a clear-cut sign that ship is a little overcosted for what it does in second edition.
The thing that's interesting to note, you know, on Rebels is that the filler ship is a Y-Wing, a naked Y-Wing, and that's 32 points. That doesn't really feel like a filler ship. So I get what you're saying about it. Scum have got the escape craft and the mining guild TIE, TIE fighters. Like, everyone's got TIE fighters apart from
Everyone's
Rebels.
got
Yeah.
Especially if we're looking at hyperspace as well, the Resistance have got the A-Wings. So giving them some help in that regard. The problem I see if you go too cheap, like people still aren't doing it, but the Selfless Gold Squadron,
Which we talked about way earlier.
Yeah, I think that's hovering in the background, and don't.
So here's my counter. I know where you're
Nora
going.
in the Y-Wing can be as unkillable as Bubba because she's got the old-fashioned add and evade result regardless of your dice. So her 8 hit points can be pretty nasty to chew through, and it's not hard to activate of getting into range 0 to 1 of something. So, right. I mean...
So here's the counter argument that I'm thinking of, just to put this on the table. A lot of the lists that we're seeing that are doing really, really well are Aces lists. They are named piloted lists, and they are being dominated by those named pilots. It's the abilities, it's the add-ons, the upgrades. How many generic builds do we see? Do you remember? And again, I'm going to make a cardinal sin and reflect back on first edition way back in the way. Remember when we used to see a lot of generic pilots? Like it was almost better to take a bunch of generic pilots because in the end, paying the points for the named pilots just didn't turn out to be worth it. We don't see a ton of that.
So there was an interesting post on the FFG forums, I believe. It was talking about proton torpedoes specifically, and that when you get into a crux of it, a rebel squad with 3 aces all packing protons is actually a more efficient jousting list than the rookie X-Wings all with protons, because you kill one of them before they shoot you and they can't have target locks on you in the first exchange. Then you kill a second one in the second exchange, and then they finish off one of yours, and you've got 2 aces against 2 normal X-Wings at that point. So, and that's obviously very simplified math of going through.
Yeah, it's a very simple.
So.
But now, if you were to take and add an additional Y-wing,
to
that list, it help. Do you see where I'm going?
No, I'm going down, and I'm gonna copy down by 2. I think that's a fair argument. I'm sold.
Yes, I've won one.
Chad.
No change.
No change.
No change.
Safe. Okay. The big gamble there would have been points increase. Double down.
Double down on that.
Okay, Chad, do you want to pick a second card?
Oh boy, let's see. What do we got?
I have a suggestion if you don't have one.
I'm thinking. Give me a second. Jeez.
Mm-hmm.
Just trying to figure out, do I want to go for another Empire card, or do I want to, let's get some other stuff in there?
You can go upgrades. It doesn't have to be ships. It could be anything.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be ships. The first thing I went was an upgrade.
Yeah, that's true. Then let's
So,
I was gonna say maybe outmaneuver.
Outmaneuver. So that is 6 points at a minute, is it?
That's an interesting choice. Currently, yes. Currently at 6.
Oh.
So going again on the game is more how well you fly than what super combos can you really make. Outmaneuver becomes an extremely good card for you if you can fly very well and you can be out of your opponent's firing arc. So I'm going to say it's going to go up by 2 points.
Bump it up to 8.
Yeah.
Okay. 8 points total for outmaneuver. So again, I'll put the devil's advocate in there of, does initiative matter on how good outmaneuver is?
You mean pilot skill?
Nah, initiative now, Chad. Come on. Second edition.
I know. I just wanted to see if I can get you to mess it up.
Obviously, I've still got the Gold Squadron veteran from when I was looking at Selfless a minute ago, and I'm like, oh yeah, but my 6 points takes him to 40 points at the minute. So that would stay the same if he goes down by 2, but outmaneuver goes up by 2. It's like, oh well, you're never going to take outmaneuver on a Gold Squadron veteran because that's just stupid. So,
yeah,
right. I don't know. I think 2's a bit high. If I let you, I'm gonna let Ed go, but I'll let Ed go first, and then I'll.
He's waiting to see what you say so he can understand.
No, I've written them down in order. So when Ed goes, it's Ed, Chad, then me. Yeah, in fact, I should go next because then I don't get the advantage. So yeah, I'm gonna say up by 1. Then I'll let you convince me. I feel like I'm wrong.
It's a how well do you fly game now, and I think cards that benefit you in that scenario are going to be
Yeah, I can see the
It'd be
argument.
good.
No, I'm going to say no change, Chad. You can't convince me. No.
Yeah,
No.
I'm sorry. I'm in Chris's camp. You can't convince me on that.
I just crossed it out. I had it read as +1, so I was like, +1's reasonable, but I'm like, it's reasonable at its current cost. I'm out.
Yep. I'm in with Kris in this camp. I think outmaneuver stays the same. While I do see the argument, I think that there are a lot of other mitigating factors that would incline me to think that
Okay, so
outmaneuver isn't the reason why that
how
particular.
cheap would it have to be for you to take it on an Initiative 3 ship?
Ooh, 3 points.
And then if it was 3 points, would it be nailed onto Wedge?
Yep, without a doubt.
So,
No questions asked.
Yeah.
Exactly, and that's why I feel like it's fine where it's at. I think you would just staple that card to Edge and leave it where it is.
But if it gets any more expensive, I think that it's like literally a Seanism of back of a book card.
Yep, it becomes unplayable if it goes anymore.
Okay. Where do I want to go next? I'll do another hyperspace one then. Because everything we've done so far is hyperspace legal. No.
Yeah.
So a little sidebar: can we universally agree that they're most likely not going to adjust the points for resistance in first order?
I would be surprised.
They have no data to base those changes on.
I will go out on a limb and say if they do big changes on more than like one or two. I can see like one or two things changing by one or two. Like resistance A-wings might go up slightly if they don't want to change the points of Rebel A-wings because resistance A-wings are better. They're the same points at the moment. Like they cost the same number of points, but then you've got to look at is it because it's within faction balance rather than across faction balance, and it's a whole different thing. We don't know the full design philosophy on that, so like. If they decide that the design philosophy is across faction and resistance A-wings all went up by 1 point, I feel like that's fine. But if we start seeing Poe goes up by 5, Kylo goes up by 5, Rey comes down by 2, it's like, oh, you just have no fucking idea what you're doing, do
you? Exactly.
Okay. So
we can universally agree that those two factions we're just not going to touch because they literally have no data to base those changes on.
Yeah. So I'll go proton torpedoes.
Damn, you took the one I was making.
Yeah, but I figured so I think this can be our last hyperspace, and then if we all do one extended,
sure,
and then we've got nine picks. So proton torpedoes. I feel like I've spoken about this in the past on past shows that when you look at them compared to the old proton torpedoes, the better. You don't get to change a focus to a crit, but you don't have to spend a target lock. So that balances out in favour of new proton torpedoes being better than first edition ones. You get 2 of them, so that's better. It comes with extra munitions effectively, so they were 7 points in old money. They're now 9 points for the same thing. So it's the 2 points cheaper. 1 point. Yeah, 2 points cheaper for the same package that is better in first edition terms. And as we discussed with Bubba, it's now second edition, so everything's supposed to be less powerful. So I think protons are going up is the easy part.
What's the number? That's the trick.
The number. See, this is again. I don't want to take torpedoing Y-wings out of the game. I don't want to ruin it for everybody. So I'm gonna be a cheeky 1 point increase.
Ah,
the cheeky cop out.
Boo. Does that move it on to mine?
Yeah, Ed is next.
I'm bumping them up to 12. I think I would see them at supernatural costs now at 12 points for all the reasons that you just previously discussed. How good they are, how effective they are, and how many shots you get with them. I think 6 points per shot seems fair to me.
So I'm looking at 5 points per shot
Mm-hmm.
being like the equivalent of old proton torpedoes. So half as I don't know.
But as you previously stated, we are in second edition, not first.
You're right.
And I'm leaning in the directions of bumping them up to 12 points. I think that doesn't point them out of the game by any stretch of the imagination. It just makes you pick a couple more points per shot with those.
Okay. I'm just going to double check if it points them out of the game or not on generic X-Wings.
I don't think. On generic X-Wings, I don't think so. So did we even do a generic?
You cannot... So at 41 points per Blue Squadron Escort, you cannot run 4 X-Wings with protons.
And that seems fair to me.
Okay. That's fine.
I'm sorry to say, it seems
fine
fair.
Because increasing them by 1 point also means that you can't run 4. So
at that juncture.
yeah. So my argument there is irrelevant.
So 12 points. Calling it.
Okay.
So it's 9 points base now.
It's 9 points now base currently. So it's 4.5
Chris is saying it gets going to 10, and you're saying 12.
Am I writing down +2, Chad? Are you going to ride the middle ground?
Ride the middle.
Down by 7.
Holy crap.
Up by 1 million. No. Let's see. I don't think it's going to go from 9 to 12. Yeah, put me down for 2. What the heck? I'm not sure which one of your sides to take here, because I do agree it's going to go up by a little bit, but I don't know if 1's going to be enough or 3's too much. I'm not real sure on that.
You can join the winning team, Chad, and copy off me. It's okay. We don't all have to be insane like Ed. Okay, Ed. So,
if I turn out to be right, by the way, on any of these...
do you want to do...
so now we're into extended.
We're gonna pick our one extended card each.
All right, Chad, you're going to hate me. And I apologize.
I hate you already.
Well, this is true. So under the same argument of the...
Does it begin with W?
This is something that was really good in first edition, at least for a time period, and has been translated basically identical into second edition.
Not well enough.
I hate saying it. It hurts my heart to say it, but I'm looking at my old TIE Defenders and saying that they are a Defenders. A little under.
I thought he was going Phantoms.
I thought it was going Whisper specifically, yeah.
No, well, I was going to leave that one open for debate because I know Chad's going to go for that one and go points down, and I'm going to be like, you're wrong. So I wanted to leave the door open for him. So since I didn't want to steal his thunder, I am going to be looking at the TIE Defenders.
All right.
I think they're undercosted. I don't think they're significantly undercosted, probably 2 to 3 points per chassis. I'm not calling that as my official bit yet. But just what they're able to do to be able to pull off the token stacking, to be able to move that 3, get the evade, get the focus token. It's all the things that we thought we removed from the game when we shifted over to second edition. It's still there. And then you can have things like Riot, or you have Viscery that's going to throw down the target locks on top of that. Like they're good. And I think they're a little undercosted. So I am going to go with a 2-point across the board increase in TIE Defenders.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to beat you so bad. Now that I wrote it down.
You think they're going down?
Good. Oh, I'm going to blow you out the water, my friend. It's Chad next anyway. It's okay.
So, Chad, TIE Defenders, up, down, staying the same. What do you say?
That's just it. It's extended, so I mean, it's not like they're getting lots of feedback on this.
They're getting enough. I think
they're getting some, but
you have to keep in mind when second edition first came out, everyone was playing as extended. Like we didn't even know about hyperspace until about a month or so ago.
So most big events have been extended so far.
Correct.
So all of the data points they have from big tournaments are all extended tournaments.
I should have gone red line, by the way. Specifically,
it's okay. That may come up in questions at the end.
Oh, good.
May. It's almost like I've avoided.
You're saying up by 2.
I'm saying up by 2 by defenders, taking Visery up to 90 points, Riot to 88, Breath to 86, and then the 2 generics going to 80 and 74 respectively.
Oh, I can't wait. This is going to be so
You can't
good.
run 3 of them now anyway,
Yeah.
so it doesn't affect the number of defenders that you can pick. It really does adjust the upgrades that you can take on them. I also don't feel like they're super meta-defining ships either. It's just having played against them enough, I feel that they're a little undercosted. Or I'm just horrible at X,
No,
and I don't
it's
want to
okay.
play.
It's okay. Yeah,
I'm willing to accept
I'm
that
pretty
too.
confident that by the end of my turn, you're going to want to change your answer, and I'm not going to let you. I'm going to logic you out of the game.
I'd love to be able to run 3.
Yeah.
I'll say up by 1. I don't really. I mean, I kind of feel that there might not be a change just because it's extended and everybody's
Yeah,
gearing towards hyperspace.
I tend to agree with that statement as well.
But if they do make a change, I'll just say it's only going to go up by 1 just because they're not really going to be that focused on it.
You can take 0 if you want, Chad. That's a viable option if you think that no change is more likely.
I kind of do.
Yeah, so do you want
put it up for
0?
0. Yeah.
That's good, so I don't want you to lose because Ed's wrong. Okay, so I'm going to roll it back about 30 minutes to when we opened the segment, and you were saying that like First Order and Resistance probably aren't going to change because we're pretty confident that they knew what they were doing. So if you had a ship that had 3 attack, 3 agility, 6 hit points, sounds pretty beefy.
Pretty beefy.
If I told you Kylo Ren was 82 points, and then you said that, oh yeah, but Braff is 84. Kylo's got 2 force points compared to your extra hull, so an extra shield.
Yep, I see where you're going with the argument.
And there's no way they're going up. There's no
the argument
way.
the counter argument I would make to that is a separate faction.
Yeah, but
is that there needs to be some level of faction balance between the two. And while I understand that if you compare apples to apples, one ship to the other, that the points seem a little bit off in those categories. However, when comparing with the other ships that are listed in his faction and what Kylo can take with him, I think helps balance that out.
Okay, so
because I don't think that points cost necessarily, like, I don't think you can look at, to further that thought, I don't think that you can look at Vader compared to Luke Skywalker and say Luke Skywalker is clearly undercosted. Well, yeah, when you compare the two. However, when you look at the fact that Luke Skywalker is in the Rebel faction and can only take these other ships and these other upgrades, that kind of balances out. So I don't know that it is a fair point-to-point comparison to be able to look at two ships from two separate factions and say that they are X equals Y, they are identical as far as that's concerned. I agree in the aspect that when you look at it from that perspective, it does seem that defenders are kind of getting the short end of the stick and should go down. However, when you look at the factions that they're in, I think that should be a contributing factor.
Okay. So
all right, let's hear how much is going down, Chris.
I'm saying they're going down by 6 points. And
down by 6?
Triple Delta will be viable. You'll be able to run Triple Delta.
Down by 6. Ooh, I'd love to see that happen.
Triple Delta with a 2-point bid. That's what I'm saying.
Can you squeeze 2 deltas in a named at that point? Because they come in at 64. That's no.
So the cheapest named is Vessery. Is Ryad.
No, Wrath at 84.
Yeah.
He would come in at 78 points then.
Yeah. So it would still be
you're right. Yep, no, it's still too much to run 3.
Yep.
Triple deltas. I like it.
Yep. You're saying down by 6.
You're probably right.
I don't think that... I think Rexel Braff is awesome. He's stupendously good. He's just a bully. If you get him to the end game, one-on-one, you're not going to lose that fight.
Yeah, no kidding.
The token stacking is really, really strong. I feel like they knew that token stacking was really, really strong and erred on the side of caution. So I'm saying
And-
down by
and
6,
had-
triple defender a dream.
And had made the same mistake whenever they originally released Defenders and had them 2 points overcosted, which in second edition terms would be 4 points.
Yeah, like there's zero chance my love of Defenders is influencing my argument, and I've thrown
That's why I said it hurt my
thrown
heart
the
to
game
say
away. But yeah, down by 6. Yeah.
All right, Chad. So that moves it on to you for your extended points up, points down.
Palpatine.
Ooh. All right. So our boy Palpatine is currently sitting at 13 points.
That's a good choice, actually, Chad. I like that.
Up or down?
So being extended right now, and the fact that his ability has been changed yet again to where it's just now you basically allow his one force token to be used by any ship on your side. It's no longer you can change a die or anything like that. You have to roll that focus for his ability to even work. I say he's going to come down to 10.
It's good.
Ooh.
-3 down. So I'm next, and I think that they overcosted every Force using crew, because we know how strong the Force is, but I feel like they made the crew in general be more expensive when they didn't really need to. So I'm gonna say down by 3 as well.
I think we're gonna have our
Good choice.
I think we're gonna have our first unanimous on this one. Kris, I tend to agree with you, and under the very similar logic in the fact that I feel that they overestimated the viability of Force using crew. I think that they're still good. But
they
I think
are definitely
that
good. I think the reason I think it's across the board is that near enough every crew involves you having to spend that Force charge to activate their ability. So you're paying twice for something you can only use one or the other. You can either use it as a generic Force point, or you can use it for its ability. You're never able to do both, and I think they've charged you as if you could do both.
Yes. Well, and I think they kind of were erring on the side of caution when they released them. So they aimed high with the intentions of adjusting lower. So I think we're going to have our first unanimous on this one. I think Palpatine's coming down by 3. He'll be a 10-point crew.
Guy's got a cough in me. Jeez.
Well, it's a good idea. You had a really good one on this, and we both kind of all agree with that one. I'm actually really surprised you did not go with Whisper.
Good idea.
Really surprised.
Extended. I'm going to leave Redline for the end because that's definitely a question. So I'll go in with a nice, easy, another softball for us all, and go Quad Jumper.
Ooh, it's funny you should mention that. I was just pulling that up.
28 points base for 5 hull, 2 agility. It's only 2 attack, but it's got a crazy awesome dial that now has like white hard ones. The reverse moves got better than the previous edition. It maintained its tech slot in a non-resistance or first order faction. Like it's 28 points.
Ludicrous.
Yeah,
ludicrous.
I don't want to take it out of the game, so I'm going to be pretty conservative, but not as conservative as I could be, and I'm going to say up by 3.
Yeah, I could totally see that. I was going to go, of course, being the heavy-handed guy that I am apparently on these ones, I was going to go up by 4.
You're going up by 4.
Up by 4. I think a base 32-point...
No, I can see that. I wanted to go up by 2, but I felt like I needed an odd number in there.
So yeah, I think going up by 4 across the board for those. I think and it has nothing to do with the stats on the it's genuinely that dial and all of the crazy things that thing brings to the table whenever that thing's on the board. I think up by 4 puts them in a position where you're not running two of them as filler ships, because that seems to be where people are using them. They're like, you've got this and this, and then I'm going to toss a couple of quad jumpers in there on top of it.
It's a point cheaper than a naked cartel spacer as a filler ship.
Yeah.
It's 2 points more expensive than a Z95 with a far better dial and an extra hit point.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's stupid low.
Yeah. Chad?
Up by 2.
Up by 2. That was my initial thought. Okay. So that is our game done. I'll need to I'll work it out. I'll shoot you guys messages on any questions I've got afterwards when I do the math. But
sure,
we've got, so this is what we'll use for our game. So I thought that because I didn't really brief you guys on it beforehand, it was a bit unfair to put stakes on it right away. But I figured that what I'll do is I'll make a donation to a charity of the winner's choice.
Oh, that's a fantastic idea.
Nice.
I already know the charity that I'll pick.
Yeah.
And I bet you Kris picks Dice Hate.
Oh, no, I can't say it'll be a giant donation. We'll see how much we make from this episode. Any patrons or anything like that, but we'll the winner will get to pick the who we donate it to.
Do we have to announce that now?
No, you can have time to think. Like I said, I dropped this on, we only came up with this as our main topic 4 hours ago.
And just because you're donating the work, it doesn't mean that you know.
Okay, so as much as I'd love to be able to do that, which I think is a noble cause to do, due to conflicts of interest, I'm not allowed to do that. So, because I'm not allowed, legitimately for work, we're not allowed to donate to our own work cause. It's just a conflict of interest. So if it were me, I would donate to the Juvenile Diabetes Research Fund, which is JDRF. I do have 2 older children who are type 1 diabetics, and anything getting closer to a cure for my 2 little ones that have to test their blood sugars all the time, that would be the charity that I would play for.
Yeah.
Not bad.
So there we go. I know how we'll do it. So the episode where we work out the results, so after the episode after the points come out, all of the money from that Patreon will donate to charity.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think
that way that gives everybody time to sign up.
Yeah, and you can cancel it after that Patreon if you like. Yeah, but that's how we'll do it.
Fantastic idea.
Every amount, and it'll be before Patreon takes their cut. I'll. So there we go. That's what we'll do. And
all right, Kris, you have a hard stop in 15 minutes, so I say that we call it here for the main topic. That was a fantastic topic. It really was. And then we move on to close out the show right after this.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
All right, so that is going to do it for episode 15 of Lack of Focus. Of course, I want to thank you for joining us. This was a fantastic little impromptu episode as far as our topic was concerned. It actually really got into some deep points costs. I really enjoyed that. And we'll prove how grossly inadequate I am at judging points in X-Wing. I can't wait for that.
I can't wait till you're right on a defender and it goes up and I look stupid.
We shall see. I will rub that in, of course. So I do, of course, want to thank everyone for joining us. Chad, always a pleasure, my friend.
Always a pleasure to be here. First off, we do have a question.
Just the one?
Well, we've got one, and there's some other ones on the actual Facebook page as well.
Oh, okay. I'll have to go over and look at those in a second.
You do Peter's question, and I'll grab the other ones. And
okay.
All right, so you're up, Kris, or Chad. Sorry.
Peter Mantello wants to know. He did say that being across the pond, he always misses the Ask the Question section. So he wanted to get our first question in for 2019. He actually posted this up right after the last show we did.
All right, he's got it, Peter. It's all yours.
All right. Is there a game mechanic you would like to add to the game? He says his would be a Rebel, maybe Scum upgrade called Hijack. That would work something like Sabine's Captured Tie, but you could put it on any ship in the game. Says, isn't like the TV shows and films, they always have to steal something from the Empire. So, like in the films, how they stole the shuttle.
Tidarium.
And, yeah. He then goes on to say, anyway, keep up the hard work. I look forward to another year of lack of focus. Then it helps him from doing his work.
Always happy to help out in that department.
So, any like game functions you would like to see?
Chris, I'll let you go with this one here because I'm putting some thought into this one.
I was really happy that they added the Force in there. So that was really, really cool. I would like to see, now that they have red actions, I'd like to see like a green action or something. It would have to be really chassis specific. Like, it's got bad, I don't know, not a great dial, but it just does something really well. So, I can't even think of a way you could implement it, but because obviously if you're stressed, you can't do an action anyway. But like maybe a ship ability or something that let you. So I'm trying to think for you, like kind of like Ray's Falcon's worded. Whilst you're stressed, you can do these actions, and treat it as a blue action. So it could be a ship ability for something. I don't know what action I'd make. But I think that would be interesting. Like, you know what it's going to do every turn, but I don't know.
So this is a mechanic to the game. It doesn't have to be ship specific or dial specific, correct?
Yeah.
So I've been clamoring about this one for some time. I love the 100-point dogfight style that we always do. One of the things that I would love to see added to the game, and again, I'm going to pull pages from my previous tabletop gamings, is alternate deployment conditions. So every time we ever sit up and play a game, we always play the exact same game for all intents and purposes. We're 1 inch away from this table edge, 1 inch away from that table edge, rocks in the middle, go. It's the exact same game every single time. I think tournament play specifically would benefit from 3 to 6 potential deployments into the game. So I'd like to see, for example, corner edge to corner edge, for example. That would change how the game is played. And I recognize in difficulty, it would be really difficult to do in a tournament setting. Doing it from the opposite table edges and effectively is the same. But if you even did ones where someone deployed in the middle and someone else deployed in another quadrant over here, or quadrant deployments, I think different styles of deployment.
Alternate deployments are a really good way of adding variety to the game. It's kind of like it's not quite at objective level X-Wing because that gets stupid on how you actually implement it, but it's really clean and it's a nice way of
implementing
doing it.
And scoring becomes really, really difficult. I agree. So like you could
just take Bubba, Han, and Dormitz and you're okay. Deploy how you want.
Exactly, you could do that, but I think that would be the one change I think I'd like to see brought to the game is, and it would have to be a universal, like an alternate, even if it's just 3 alternate deployment conditions that allow you to do a little bit more than just table edge, and go, other than the pitched battle, so to speak. Chad, what mechanic would you like to see added to the game?
So, I noticed yours was kind of I felt influenced by your 40K days, because there was multiple deployments you could have. So I'm going to expand on that one and pull another aspect from some 40K. In there, you had reserves. It counted as points you had to spend in your list, but you could choose for them to come in later. So if you were to hold back a ship, maybe make it so that only 25% of your list, points-wise, was allowed to sit in reserves. And then after like a few turns or whatever, that's when it could actually come in, or make it where you have to roll a crit for it to come in.
And by turn 3, they have to come in.
Yeah.
It's funny because it's
something like that where
I'm gonna keep Supernatural Kylo off the table. It's okay. Trust me, it's fine.
Run the risk of your other ships that aren't so good getting destroyed.
Oh, and if you have
you've got nothing on the table, you're dead. Yeah, it's cool.
If you have nothing on the table and you have no ships on, the game's over. You lose. So there are pluses and minuses to that.
I can run with no initiative 7. Good luck shooting me. No, with afterburners.
So like,
It's-
call it like reinforcements or something like that,
Yeah,
you know?
that'd be cool.
It's interesting you said that, because those were the two that I was really debating, whether I wanted to go with like a reserves type idea, very similar to exactly what you're saying, or to go with the alternates deployments. I agree. I think that'd be a fantastic way to be able to do it. I do think that by the third turn, whatever that ship is has to come on.
Yeah.
And I also agree with the ruling that if by turn 2 all of your ships are off the board, there's something on there, and your ship's not on, you lose. It's considered lost.
In that case, I mean, I think you would see some people who maybe they're saving their really tough one. They're going to slow roll their weaker ships, you know, just so that they're not dead by turn 2.
Okay.
Yeah, but then that would develop alternate lists that would come out. Like you would see things like the 4 strikers that go and say, okay, if that's your plan, you're just going to slow roll. I'm going to come in there, charge, and blow up your 2 ships, and you lose. So like it's really going to kind of like alter the meta on what ships do and do not get played. Like I like the idea, like Kylo could only be able to come in and like do an action. Like you'd have to be able to restrict it so that they're not coming in and just blowing crap up art, and they'd have to come in from like your table edge.
They would come in from your table edge. It would be like you setting it up for deployment.
Right.
So you wouldn't be able to you wouldn't be allowed to go past range 1, and it's only from your table edge that you start from.
Yeah, see, I completely agree with that. I completely agree with it. I think that'd be a fantastic idea, a fantastic implementation.
Yeah, so thanks for your question, Peter. As you
Yeah,
guys
that was
know,
a great question, Peter. Thank you.
you can send them to our Facebook page or our email address, Chad.
Yeah. Email address, lackoffocuspodcast@gmail.com. Hit us up on Facebook, like a lot of people do whenever we post up. Hey, what kind of questions do you have? Peter actually sent us a message through Facebook because he, like I said, he's not really awake at this point in time, so he wanted to get a question in. He did that. We got YouTube, likes, hate. Go watch our videos of us being goofy and just talking, and Ed just constantly vaping all the time because that's all he
At least
does.
he mutes when
miss
we're
all that
recording.
You
Yeah.
missed that on the audio version.
Yeah, so the audio versions, I mean, we're everywhere basically. And let's not forget that all important patreon.com/lackofocus. As Kris mentioned earlier in the show, whoever wins that little contest there, we're going to take some of that Patreon money, which they don't keep basically and such. We're going to pick a charity, and, you know, whoever wins will get it donated to that charity. So if you can sign up, yeah, right, Ed, you're not going to win. But no, guys, if you can sign up just for at least a little bit, you know, something just to help us out, because each one of us wants to help out a really good cause, please do so. We really, really appreciate it. And if you want to keep it going after that, just to help, you know, that guy up in Canada, you know, he puts a lot of work in, and it would really be appreciated, I'm sure.
Absolutely. So there were more questions on the Facebook page.
I was
correct,
going to
Kris?
just go through and like quick fire these because I did it slightly different this time. So I asked,
You did. I
I
took
asked
a
for
peek.
questions, and then I asked the listeners a question as well. So I said, which ship or upgrade do you think will have the largest percentage change in points? Almost like I was tying it into our entire show.
Ho, ho, ho. Look at that production
So
value.
one
Yeah,
person
he's like a
actually
producer.
played the game and read the question, so well done, Tony. Largest percentage change should be handgunner on Scum, because even going up by a single point is a 25% increase. So and like handgunner could easily be like 6 points instead of 3, or
Yeah.
like 4 points or whatever. So
That's a good
like,
call.
so Tony, I can see that.
I can
then-
absolutely see that.
Unsurprisingly, lots of people said Punishers. Not many people actually specified Redline though, so that's an interesting little point
Wait,
for discussion.
there are other TIE Punishers other than Redline?
So,
I've not seen them.
Death Rain's pretty good, but the ability on Redline, and again, this for me, I'll just open up my thoughts on it. It isn't so much Redline and her stupid ability; it's a combination of advanced sensors and the efficiency of torpedoes in general that is just crazy good. That you can, no matter what your opponent does, you can
Always fire those.
you can advance sensors boost. You can advance sensors boost and get your target lock, and you can advance sensors like it's just crazy. You can adjust. It's good, but I don't think that becomes as much of an issue lower down. Like Death Rain can't advance sensors into a boost and a reposition and a target lock. So I feel like there isn't going to be a change on Punishers across the board. I could see Redline going up, coming down. Yeah.
Yeah, coming
Okay.
down. Are you insane?
Okay. I feel like the problems with Punishers in general is more of a problem with the cards that go on them, other than Redline.
Yeah, and one of the cards which we addressed already today, which is of course the torpedoes themselves.
Yeah.
If those go up, it's funny we did not mention advanced sensors in our review and points questions, but that's probably another one that probably needs to be looked at.
It ties in with Supernatural,
yeah.
It's as good as Supernatural, but you don't have to be a Force user, so you could tie it in. But then you've got a cost for a sensor slot as well, so I could see it changing in line with Supernatural.
Yeah, I could see that as well.
Then we have let's find some other good ones. Sorry, I'm going through
professional podcasting.
Yeah, Damien Robertson, the points update is a lie. It was a troll by FFG.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
He says Moldy Crow or Marauder title.
We did kind of touch on that basically. That
Moldy Crow is insane as well. Jerry does say.
Oh boy, this should be good.
I'm just ignoring the first half of your question, Jerry, because we don't have time because of my hard stop. But he does say, what if Moldy Crow became Rebel only? Well, I know it's printed on the card, but with the app being the primary wave squad building,
I don't know that they're going to go down that route. I see where he's going with it.
Well, would you leave it at the same points if it becomes Rebel only? I'd still make it go up.
I'd still make it go up, even if it were Rebel only. But
yeah,
I think I'm not sure if they alluded to it in one of the hyperspace stuffs when they were really releasing. One of the problems that they have with going through with changes with printed cards is that they have to go through LFL to do those, and those are much longer term changes to get approved by Lucasfilm to be able to do so. So that's why I'm less inclined to think that they'd be willing to make a change to printed material as opposed to the points cost, which they can just change with the application. So while I see where you're going with it and agree with it in spirit, I think that is less likely to happen than just a points increase.
Okay, so I'm going to do a couple of quick fire ones, and any I miss, we'll make sure we pick up in the next one because I'm a minute over.
Yeah, you do have a hard stop.
Yeah. So Scott did actually ask a decent question this time instead of trolling us, so that's why I wanted to make sure we fit it in. Do you think they are going to be able to keep their plan to avoid people having to buy cross-faction when Republic comes out, in all probability with a number of Force upgrades? So we know, obviously, Brilliant Evasion doesn't currently exist anywhere. The only place to get hate at the moment is in the conversion kit. So if you want to fly hate Vader, you have to buy it a faction. What I would point out is that they never said that you would be able to get it all immediately without buying cross-faction. So I wouldn't be surprised if I'm trying to think of a ship that's in the game.
They are.
Yeah, so if
Decimator.
Well, where I'm going is the TIE Advance prototype is new canon. It's a Disney ship. It has the Inquisitors. So I wouldn't be surprised if that comes out in Wave 4 or Wave 5 and has hate in it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Falcon comes out and has Brilliant Evasion in it.
Yeah. I think that
kind of thing. There will be stuff like the quickest and easiest way will be as it was in first edition to just buy the stuff you want only for the cards. But I think that they didn't lie when they said you won't have to. But they didn't put a time scale on that yet.
Yeah, you might just have to wait. I go back to my original argument with the starter set and the structure of the starter set. I think even if you came in and you just wanted to play Jedi and that's all you wanted to play, you're still going to have to purchase Rebel and Imperial ships in order to get the stuff you need to play. So I think fundamentally that is part of the game. It always has been. Would I like to see it reach a model where I'd only have to buy only ships in my faction? Yes. I don't think we're there yet. I think they gave us what they could with the conversion kits to be able to get everyone started. Eventually, when we reach that point where all of the ships that are going to be in the game are in the game and we've all caught up with not only all the stuff that's in print, first edition, but also current in second, I think we'll get there. But I think it's going to take some time.
Yeah, so Ian Courtney asks about our thoughts on the Resistance and Rebel A-Wings. I think we touched on that in the main segment.
We did touch on it, and if you want to touch on it again real quick, I think you and I are in the same boat on this one. While I recognize that they're the same point cost as the Rebel ones, I think you need to look at the factions. I don't think point cost is a specific 1-to-1 ratio. This ship and this ship compared, looking at the stats and what it can do, that's what a point cost is. I don't think that that's a fair comparison. We're going to be reaching a game very closely where we have 7 factions in the game, and each ship needs to be able to fit into that faction. So while it may seem that one is cheaper than the other because this one's better when comparing the two side by side, they're not in the same faction.
Yeah,
they fit different roles in different factions.
Chad?
I was going to say, as an Imperial player, I'm going to have to take the stance of Mr. Horse from Ren and Stimpy and go, no, sir, don't like it.
Large base ships get a points drop by Ian
Overall,
Courtney. Yeah, there is a lot more in this, but I'm just paraphrasing.
Okay, so I'm trying to think of any large base ships that are currently hyperspace.
Falcon. Falcon and Upsilon.
Upsilon's not going to get a points change because it's going to be brand new into the faction, and then the Falcon. And again, I recognize I'm skewing this towards hyperspace only, but I happen to be firmly believe that those are going to be the ones they're going to focus on. I think overall, we don't see a ton of large base ships, so he's probably right.
I could see the Falcon coming down in Rebels to be more in line with the Resistance one, even though they have different stats.
Yeah, and again,
I don't remember if I spoke about this on our last show, but did you know the Resistance Falcon does not have a 4K?
Wait, what?
It doesn't have the 4K on its dial. Oh, how I laughed! It's like
I did not.
It's only got the swoops. So we were playing a game. My opponent was like, "I'm going to 4K," and it's like, "Oh." We was going to set his dial, and I'm like, "What's wrong?" It's like, "It doesn't have a 4K." What do you mean it doesn't have a 4K? Have you put the right dial on it? Like, we took the cover off and looked on the back. It doesn't have a 4K.
No, I did not catch that.
Yeah.
So functionally, it's a different ship.
Yeah.
Like, I recognize the body, the actual model itself is the same, but it has different abilities.
Zachary Johnson, question. I'm happy with Wave 2 is here, but I have no patience. What's Wave 4 going to look like? So I would say that some of the ships that are from Disney canon will get released. So
okay, so I think he's probably looking for a little bit more meat to that. So
we'll have
I'm
to come
going
back
to
to
throw
it
some.
then.
Well, no, I'll throw some guesses.
Okay.
I'll throw some real quick guesses. I think a one ship per faction. I think I'm willing to throw out there. I think we're going to see the TIE Interceptor and probably the TIE Bomber. Those are canon Star Wars ships. Should be in the game. From Rebel side, we're going to see the B-Wing. And hell, I don't even know another ship that I would think that I would toss in there.
A-Wings and out for Rebels, yeah.
Okay, A-Wings, perfect. So you got B-Wings and A-Wings. Also really surprised the shuttle should probably be in there too from the Imperial side. And then from the Scum side, where are we at with canon Scum ships? Ventress's ship, because it was in
Rebels.
It was in Rebels. I'm trying to think of it.
Needs to go into hyperspace releases effectively.
Yeah, effectively, that's probably got to go in. Yeah, that's probably it. I would agree. And then from First Order, whatever comes out in Episode 9. Same with the Resistance, whatever shows up in the Resistance TV shows. Like, there's been a couple of ships already shown in the Resistance TV show, so something from there. It's like I'm more getting onto this boat where Kris is.
I'm going to have to jump in now because I can hear the people who are coming round have arrived. So I want to quickly cut you guys off and thank our patrons. Gustavo, Jerry, Michael, Peter, Ronnie, Tommy, and William, I believe. Tommy and William were both new, so thanks a lot.
Fantastic. Thanks, guys.
Awesome.
Really appreciate that. And I'll throw it over to Ed to close it out. And I'm sorry if we missed your question. We'll make it up to you.
Yeah, Kris is on a hard stop. Sorry about that. So I'll try to make this quick. Thank you so much for joining. I always appreciate the support and appreciate you guys listening. So until next episode, try that again. Until next time, hopefully we'll have real point costs to talk about in the next episode. And until then, fly casual. Thank you once again for joining the Lack of Focus X-Wing podcast. Check out Dice Hate Productions for all of the latest episodes, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you again next episode.